was first in a group called Joy Division, and I lasted for about 4 years in the late 70s, very late 70s and early 80s, and that ended when our singer Ian Curtis died rather suddenly. And we decided that if any one member of the group left, then we would no longer call the group by the name Joy Division. So we formed New Order, and our girl joined the group, Gillian Gilbert, and she became a keyboard player. And after a bit of trials and tribulations at the beginning, when we were finding our footing, we eventually became a mega successful supergroup. And just sold a load of records. Nowadays, New Order, the only achievement we wanted to do was to regain the loss that we'd made when Ian had died. And because in Joy Division we'd fought really hard and worked really hard for maybe 4 years to get somewhere, and we were just getting somewhere when Ian died. So it was a bit of a struggle and a bit of a panic situation at the beginning. And we found that we'd kind of got stuck in a rut with the sound of Joy Division, and we wanted, well, I can only speak for myself, but wanted to move on and try and find a new sound. And we kind of got interested in electronics, sequencers and synthesizers. I was always very technically minded, so I loved it. You know, it really appealed to me. And whammo, it was a new direction, and we really got into it. And then we had a monster hit with Blue Monday, which was the biggest selling 12-inch single ever. And we've not looked back since, really. Most unexpected hit, really. And everyone at the time, I remember everyone at the time saying, you know, when you get moaning people who just moan all the time and are very cynical, everyone just said, well, it doesn't sound like New Order, and it's just another disco record. That kind of attitude. We proved them all wrong. If I don't get the opposite of it, it becomes uncomfortable and unreal. And you start living in a completely unreal world of hotels and swimming pools. Multiple stimulation. And, you know, mass adoration. And I'm just very aware of it got in my head, and it could send you potty. You know, get Elvis Presley. Don't end up looking like that, wearing clothes like that. Oh, I have done, actually. Maybe that's why. Well, we put a lot of money into the Hacienda, and it took a lot of time to establish it as England's leading night spot. And it took a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort, and an incredible amount of worry. I wouldn't recommend to anyone else watching this to open a nightclub. But eventually, you know, it worked. And when it worked, then it was a... Well, up in Manchester, for Granada Television, we did... they did a programme about George Best and Rodney Marsh. The programme was called Best and Marsh, would you believe it? And we did the music for that. We got asked to do the music for that, because for some strange reason, I don't know why, a lot of New Order's music gets used on sports programmes. And the Football Authority saw this programme, they saw our name at the end of it, and they liked the music, so they asked us to write the England World Cup song. I think they were a bit sick of Chas and Daves and all crap like that, you know. So we thought, again, you know, it's a wacky thing to do for us. We thought, what a strange thing, we'll do it. I don't think we're going to split up. But you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, do you? You know, like a poor old Martin on it. But I don't think we've got any intentions of splitting up. I think The whole touring thing, I mean, New Order gradually became a touring monster, especially in the States, because we were getting more and more successful, and the temptation of all that money that you could make from touring became too much. Especially as we were in dire financial circumstances with Hacienda, you know, we had to find some way of financing that. So we had to do it really, but eventually, you know, I just ground to a halt touring, and I just ended up in hospital in Chicago from nervous exhaustion, I suppose you could say. I didn't have a nervous breakdown, that's what it usually means. I was drinking too much and whooping it up too much, I suppose. And one day I just went, oof. And when I was in hospital, I just thought, it's not worth doing this to yourself. And I thought what I liked doing really was writing songs. So I just said, right, I'm going to stop, I'm going to write songs.
I think between Morrissey, Matt Johnson and Bernard, I've been incredibly lucky as a writer and as a guitar player. And anything else I want to do with anybody, I'll sort of maybe make my own record and get them involved in it that way. I quite like Ryuichi Sakamoto, and I'd be interested in doing some work with him. But I think I've pretty much exhausted my partners at the moment, in more ways than one.
It'll always be one-offs. I mean, we may do a showcase mini-tour. I believe that's a term you journalists use. Maybe maximum of 3 concerts. But I think, you know, no more than 3. And we'll try and make each one special, or there'll be some special reason for doing it. Like, we're getting paid loads of money.